Hey guys, in this video we are going to create dashboard for our project. We can access this dashboard directly through this link, the main link /dashboard, and we can log in into this dashboard from here. Let's use this account, it is admin. And here is our dashboard with the information of our application. And the other way to access this dashboard is through our home page. Let's log out. And we can log in from here as well using the same account. And from the menu of the user we can go to dashboard from here, and here is our dashboard again. This dashboard has dark and light mode. We can toggle between them using this icon. And here the menu, we can make it bigger, and we can see the titles of the icons in the list as well as the information of the user. We can see here that the user is admin, and this is how it looks in the light mode. And we can access the different sections using this menu. For example, we can manage the users from here and the rooms as well. Let's start first at the main panel. Here we can see the total number of the users and the total number of the rooms, and here the recently added users and the last rooms added here. And from this pie chart we can see the cost of the rooms. The green one is the free stay, that means the cost is 0. The number of rooms is 7, and the other one is less than $15. The number is 6, and this is between 15 and 35. Number of rooms is 9, and here the rooms with the price more than $35. It is 21% of the total rooms. And here is another chart, area chart. It shows the number of users compared to the number of rooms in the same month. This is the last 5 months. For example, in March there's 12 users and 3 rooms added. This is for April, and here May, June and July. All of this information is automatically added from our database. And here's the details of the users. We can sort the users using the name field. We can click here, or any of these fields. For example, the created date, we can order them by that field as well. And we can also filter users using any of these fields. For example, we can search for the name. And here's the accounts with this name. We can search by another field as well. Let's search by the rule. Let's check who is the admin. And here's James, the admin of the application. And we can clear this filter from here. We can change the status of the user from here, but this permission is only for the admin of the application. So for example, let's change it from editor to be only basic user, and let's disable the user. And when we commit this information, we can see the button activated, so we can send this information to be saved in our database. Let's change it back to be editor because we need this account to change the editor rule. And let's activate the user again. And let's save. And it is loading, then saved. Let's disable this user because we need to check if the user can sign in after we disable it. And let's save. Let's go to manage rooms page. Here's the list of our rooms, the price, title, description, and who added this room. And we can view the details of the room from this icon. Let's click on it. Here's the detail of the room. And from this we can edit the information of the room, and the other one to delete the room. Let's try to edit this room. Let's change the location to Leiden. And from the details we can change the price. And let's change the images. Let's delete this image and add another one. And let's submit. The room has been updated. And here's the new information. It is in Leiden. Let's go to the dashboard and go to the rooms. And we can see the information of the room has been updated as well here. Let's try to delete this room. The room has been deleted successfully. These advantages or permissions only for the admin user. And if we go to the main panel, we can see the chart has been updated and the total rooms number as well. This GridData is flexible and responsive as well. And from here we can navigate the pages. As well as we can change the number of rows per page. And we can scroll through them easily. And this is how it will look on small screens. And it is the same for the users, and as well as in the main panel. This is how it will look on mobile phone or other small screens. Now let's check to log in using these accounts we have updated. We will use Naila Foster and Naila Paul to check the disabled account and the editor rule. So let's log out from the admin account. And let's try first the disabled account. Now we can see this account has been suspended. Contact the app admin. Now let's try to log in with the editor account. The editor permissions are almost the admin permissions, except for managing the users. So this user can see the statistics on the main panel, and she can manage the rooms, view the details, edit and delete as well. But managing the users, she can only see the list of the users. But if we try to change the rule or the active status, we can't edit them. And these access rules, we didn't only added them on the client side, we added them on the server side because it is safer. And from here we can as well see the information of the user. We can see that she is editor. And from here we can log out. And now let's try normal user with basic rule. Let's log in with this account, rose@gmail.com. She is only basic. And we can see that our system forwards us automatically to the rooms section. And we can see only the rooms added by this user. And of course, this user has the access to view, edit, and delete his or her rooms. Now let's log in back with our admin account. And let's start building our dashboard. Let's create a new folder for the pages because we need to add a new link for our dashboard. And inside it, our folder dashboard. Inside that, our component dashboard. And let's create inside the pages a new component for the home page. And let's go to the app and copy these old components and paste them all here in the home page and change all the paths. Let's save and go to the app. We need to install new package to switch between pages or the links. This is React Router DOM. And let's delete all of this and all the components here. We are going to use this for our dashboard from Material UI. Let's copy the code and let's paste it in our component dashboard. And in our app, let's configure our routes. Let's add the component browser router from React Router DOM. Let's import it. Inside it, our routes. And let's add route for our dashboard. Path is dashboard /**. This will forward any link after dashboard to this component. I think I forgot to change the name of the component. Let's go and change it. And let's try to import it again. Now it is here. And let's add another default route for any link beside this dashboard. We will forward it to our home page. I forgot here as well to change the name. Let's import it again. And let's save and check. This is the main page. And if we try a random link, it will be forwarded automatically to the home page. Let's try the dashboard link. We are in our component dashboard. And if we added any random link after dashboard, it will be forwarded to our dashboard component. Now let's work on our dashboard component. We need to separate this component into two components. One is the AppBar and the other one it will be the side list with the content. This is the drawer of the side list. So we are going to separate this list with this content in another component because we are going to restrict access to them. So let's create a new component. Let's call it side list. And let's cut the drawer and the content. And add them to our new component in an empty fragment. We don't need this function here. Let's delete it. And this use theme. And let's change the way of importing React. This way is more organized. This is the drawer, we need it in the other component. AppBar here. And the drawer header, we need it as well in the other component. and opened and closed mixin as well. So let's cut them all. And add them here. And there's a styled drawer as well. Let's cut it and add it here down. And let's delete all these components. We don't need them here. This one we need it in there. So let's cut it and paste it here. And let's delete this as well. And there's a drawer width, we need it in both components. So let's just copy it and paste it here. Because as you can see, we used it here as well as here. Now let's import the components one by one from Material UI. This iconButton. And let's delete this function. We need to import open and set open state from the dashboard component. So let's add our new component here and pass it the state open and set open. This is the state. Now we are done here. Let's save and go continue working on side list component. So in this inline function, we will just set open to be false to close the drawer. And here we just need the left icon. So let's delete the others. And let's import it from Material UI icons. This divider as well. And this list component. And these icons. We are going to replace this list anyway and these icons, but we need now to test that everything is working. Let's import the box and the typography. And let's check that everything is imported and let's save and check. It is working as it was before. Now let's add the dark mode and the icons on the AppBar. So let's create state for dark and set dark. Use state and the default value is true. We will use the dark as default. And let's create theme. We will call it dark theme. We are going to use Memo from React to avoid creating this object with every render. It will depend on the dark state. So let's create the theme and pass it an object. But first let's import useMemo. useMemo is always remembering the old value, so it will not create anything unless there's a change in the states of dependencies. So let's change the mode of the palette depending on the state. If it is true, we will retain dark, otherwise it will be light. And if you are not comfortable with useMemo, I am going to show you another way after we test this. Now let's wrap all the components inside theme provider from Material UI. And let's pass it here the theme. It will be the dark theme we've just created. Now let's add the icons to our AppBar. Let's first change this text to be dashboard. And now let's add style to make it grow to fill all the AppBar, so it can push the last icon to the end of the bar. This is how it will look. It will push this toggle mode icon to the end of the bar. This is by using FlexiGrow 1. And let's add the home icon here. Let's add tooltip. The title is go back to home page. And inside it, home icon. But we needed to navigate to our home page, so let's add iconButton. And let's drag it inside it. Let's give it margin from right 1. And on a click, we are going to navigate to the home page. Let's use the hook useNavigate from React Router DOM. And let's call it here and pass it the / to navigate to the home page. Now let's add the icon to toggle between the modes. If the state dark is true, we are going to use this icon brightness 7. Otherwise, we are going to use the icon brightness 4. And on a click, we are going to change the state dark to be the opposite of its old state. Now let's save and check. It is working and the default is the dark mode. And if we click here, we can see the light mode. And the menu and everything is working. And if we click on home icon, we go to the home page. Let's go to the dashboard using the link because we haven't added it yet into the user menu. So here, if you don't like using useMemo, you can just copy this and add it outside our component. We don't need it to be created every time there's render. And delete this one and useMemo. And let's change the name to be dark theme 1 and pass the state dark as parameter because we need it here. And here you can call the function we've just created and pass it the state dark. And now let's save and check. It is supposed to work the same. Now the toggle icon is working the same. But as it is recommended from React, we should use useMemo. So I am going to use here useMemo and delete this function. Now let's add the dashboard link here into this user menu. So let's go to the components. User menu component. And let's copy this menu item. And paste it up here. Let's change the icon to be dashboard from Material UI. And the text to be dashboard as well. And let's use the hook useNavigate from React Router DOM. And let's call it here inside this inline function. Navigate to dashboard. And let's save and check. Here we can see the link. If we click, we go to the dashboard. Let's close it and go back to our side list component. We need to add the user information. So let's delete all this text. We don't need it. Here we will add our content. And instead of this list, we are going to add the user information. So let's delete it. And let's import our current user from the global state using a global context provider. Let's add box component from Material UI. And let's add some styling to keep it in the center. The margin horizontally is auto, and margin from top 3, from bottom 1. And let's add tooltip to show the name of the user when we hover on the icon. It is current user.name. If it is undefined, we will add an empty text to avoid triggering an error. And let's add inside it the avatar of the user. The source of the avatar is current user.photo URL. And when we open the menu, we need it to be bigger. So it is just only if open is true. We will add styling, width 100 and height 100. And let's add another box for the other information to be below this avatar. We will align the text to be in the center. The first one is the name of the user. This is only if the state of open is true. We will add typography. And inside it the current user.name. And we will always show the role of the user. Variant is body2 to make it smaller. Current user.rule. And for now we are going to use the text rule because we don't have the rule inside our database yet, but we are going to add it later because this will control the privileges of the user. Let's copy this here and change it to email and make the text smaller. Now let's add the icon for logout. Let's add it inside tooltip. Title logout. And let's give it margin from top 1. Inside it our iconButton. And inside it the logout icon from Material UI icons. And let's add on click action. We will create function handle logout. Let's create it now. We need to import the dispatcher to trigger action to clear the user information. So let's dispatch the action update user and the payload to be null. And for now we need to use navigate to forward the user to the home page so he can log in again, because we still don't have the login system in our dashboard. So after clearing the user information, we will navigate to the home page. Let's save and check. Here's the small avatar of the user and the rule. And when we open the menu, we can see a bigger avatar with all the information. Let's try to log out. We are now in the home page and we can log in again. Let's go back to our dashboard and continue building our side list. Now we need to replace this list here. This is the list we are going to replace. Let's create a new list array. We will use here useMemo to remember the values. It's only in the first render, but later it will depend on the current user because the list it will be different from the admin user to the other normal users. This list is an array of objects and every object represents a component. These components are the main and users, rooms, messages and requests. So let's create them one by one first. Let's go to the dashboard folder and create inside it 5 folders. First folder is main. Inside it, main component. And let's add default arrow component here. Another folder for users. Inside it, the component users. And as well the default arrow component. And one more folder for rooms. Inside it, the component rooms. And one for requests. Inside it, the component requests. And the last one for messages. And let's check them. And now let's go back and create our array. First object will contain main component. The title is main. The icon is dashboard icon from Material UI icons. And the link, it will be the default main page of the dashboard. The component is the main component we've just created. And let's copy it 4 times. These are the icons and the titles. The second one is users. And let's choose an icon. Let's use this icon from Material UI. And the link users. The component is users component. The third one for rooms. King bed for the icon. And rooms for the link. And the component is our rooms component. This is for requests. And let's choose an icon. The link is requests. And the component is requests we've just created. And the last one for messages. Let's give it an icon from Material UI icons. Link is messages. And the component is our component messages. Now let's replace the old array. We are going to loop through our new array. We will receive them one by one. Let's replace the key to be item.title. And let's replace here the icons. We will add item.icon instead. And the primary text will be item.title. And let's save and check. Here's our new list. These are the icons and the titles we added. But we can't navigate through them. Let's add the components down. We are going to use routes from React router down to route through these components. Now let's loop again through our list array. We will receive the item and we will retain route from React router down. The key again is item.title. And the path, it will be item.link. The element, it will be item.component. Let's import it from React router DOM. And let's add a click action to the menu. Let's add it here in list item button. On a click, we will navigate to item.link. And let's save and check. Now it is working. We can see the component is changing when we click on the menu item and the link as well. It is now messages and now requests. But there is no selection to show which link is active. Like here in the finished product, we can see that the link stayed selected in both modes. We need here to use new state. We could have used location from React Router DOM, but it will not work perfectly as this way. This way is a little bit longer, but it is better. So let's call the state selected link and set selected link. And the default value is the link of the main component. We need now to pass to every component set selected link beside the link of this component. So let's pass it here to the main component, set selected link, and the link will be the link of this component. This is an empty text because it is the default. And let's copy it and use it here with the users. The link will be users. And in case of rooms, the link is rooms. Requests, the link is requests. And lastly, messages, the link is messages. Now let's add to this button selected. It is in case of selected link equals current item.link. If this is true, it will be selected. Let's save and go to our main component. And let's import the function set selected link and the link. Here we will create use effect. In the first render of this component, we will just set selected link to be the link. And let's copy it and use it in users component. Let's just import the use effect and extract the props here. Set selected link and the link of users, the rooms as well. And let's import use effect here. And let's paste it here for requests. Import set selected link and the link. And for messages as well, the same function, set selected link and the link of messages. And let's save and check now. We can see it is selected now. If we change to messages, it is selected. Rooms as well, and in both modes. And if we access directly from the link with any extra special characters, it will be stay selected, as we can see here. This way it won't work easily using a location from React Router DOM. Let's try it again with users, and the users stayed selected. Now let's start building our main component. This will show the main panel or the statistics. Let's use here box from Material UI. And let's add some styling. In small screens, we are going to make it flex, one column only. And in big screens, it will be grid out of 3 columns. Let's add here grid template columns. We will repeat 3 columns in the same size, one fragment for everyone. And the rows we will use min max. The minimum height it will be 100 pixels, and the maximum height it will be auto to fit the bigger one, and the gap between them horizontally and vertically 3. Text align center, and the flex direction for the small screens it will be column. Now let's add the columns. We are going to use paper component from Material UI. Let's give it elevation or shadow 3 and padding 3 as well. Let's add here the title. Variation is h4 and the text total users. And now let's add the icon and the number of the users. Display flex. And we will align the items to the center to align them horizontally, and justify content to be as well center to make them in the center of the cell or the box. Let's now add the icon. Height 100 and width 100. Opacity 0.3 and margin from right 1. Now let's add the number. Variant h4, and let's add static number 10 here for now. Let's copy it and paste it for the number of the rooms. Let's replace here the text to be rooms, and let's change the icon. Let's use this icon from Material UI and give it a static number 20. Let's save and check. Let's go to the main. Here's our 2 papers or 2 columns. We need to add the third one for recently added users and the rooms. So let's add here paper, elevation 3, and let's add styling here, padding 2. And the grid column will start from the line 3 and it will fill only 1 column. The rows, we are going to reserve 3 rows for this cell. It started from the first line. That means it starts from line 1 until line 4. Here it will fill the first row and 2 more rows. Now let's add box component inside it. And the first title for recently added users. And we will add the users inside list. But we don't have the users yet. We need to create some functions to bring them from the server or the database. Let's first go to our context provider. Here's our global state. We can see we have already state for rooms, but we don't have one for users. So let's add users here. The default value is an empty array. And let's create action to update this state in the reducer. Here's the action to update the state of the rooms. Set them to the payload in the action, and it adds some default values to other states. So now let's add our action update users. We will retain the same state, no change, and only we will update our state users to be the payload in the action. Let's save and close these 2 files. We don't need them anymore. Now let's go to the actions, to the room actions. This is the link of the room in the server. And this is the function or the action responsible for bringing the rooms from the server. So let's copy it and use it for the users. Let's go to the user actions. This is the URL of the user resource in the server. Now let's paste the function here. Update the name to get users. And here the dispatch. And we will update here the action to be update users. And the payload is result we received from the server. Let's save and go to the server. We need to go to the models and we need to add some extra fields. We've already had these fields, name, email. Let's add here trim to trim any spaces in the email. Now let's add our new fields. The first field is rule, type string, default one is basic, that means normal user. Enum is an array to specify which values are allowed. In our case they are only basic, editor and admin. And let's add active to disable and enable the user. Type is boolean and the default is true. That means it is active by default. And here let's add timestamps to add created at and updated at automatically. Let's save and go to controllers. Let's go first to room controller to copy the function from there. Let's copy this get rooms and add it here in the user controller. Let's update the name to be get users and here to be users and the model to be user. They are going to be sorted from the new to the old. And let's add the users here as result to be sent back to the client. The list of the users is very sensitive information. We are going later to only allow the admin or the editor to access this information. Now let's go to the user router to add a new route to access this resource. It is get method on the default user link and we are going to use get users controller. Let's save and go back to the client. Now let's extract the rooms and the users from the global state and the dispatcher as well using our hook use value. And let's use this use effect in the first render of the component. We will check if there is no rooms. We will request them from the server using this function get rooms and we will pass it the dispatcher and let's copy it for the users. We are going to use get users action to bring the users list from the server. Now let's create the list of the users. We will use only the last 4 users. We will receive the user and the index. We will use the index to hide the last divider in the list. We don't need it to be shown. The key of the box is the user ID. Because it is loop, we need here key. And let's add the list item. Inside it, the list item avatar. And inside that, the avatar of the user. The alternative text, it will be the username. And the source of the avatar, it will be the user photo URL. And let's add after that the text. This is the avatar, and this is the primary text, and this is the secondary text. So the primary text, it will be the username. And the secondary, it will be the created date. But here we need a new package. It is moment. We need it to format the date. Let's import it first. And let's use it here. Moment. And we will pass it the user.created@. We still don't have that because all the accounts created before we added this into our user model. So the moment we retain the current date, and that's no problem for testing. The format we are going to use 4 digits for the year, 2 digits for month, and 2 digits for day, 24 hours, minutes, and seconds. Now let's add these dividers, but the last one we don't need it. So we will check if the index not equals 3. We will add divider component from Material UI. And let's add the variant to be in set. We don't need it to be full width. Now let's copy all of this for the rooms list. But first let's add here divider. And let's give it some styling. Margin top 3 and margin bottom 3 as well. Opacity 0.7, and let's paste here. Let's update the title here and the list here, the item and the items inside here, room.title and room.images, the first one because it is array. The primary, it will be room.title. And let's change the format here. We will use the function from now to show the time ago. Now let's save and check. Here's the list of the users and the list of the rooms. But here the avatar is circle, we don't need it to be circle. Let's go back and change the variant to be rounded. And let's save and check again. Now it is better. The dates here are the dates of the current day because we don't have the created@ field yet, but we are going to deal with that later. Now everything is working here. Oh, here I forgot to change these static numbers. Let's go back and update them. This will be the length of the rooms array. And this will be the length of the users array. So let's save and check again. Now it is the dynamic numbers inside our database. We are going to continue adding the other features in the next video. So see you guys in the upcoming video.